Yo, you know what's going on? You're kicking it with Maleman on Denver's Urban Alternative 104.7 The Drop. And we've got like a serious topic we've got to talk about. I know sometimes we want to run away from this topic, but it's very important. And we gonna have that conversation today. I'm talking about estate planning. Joining me today to help us navigate and figure out the importance of estate planning is Stephanie Freeman, and she know what she talking about. What's up, Stephanie? How you doing?
Hey, Mailman. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. I like to check in. I do this with every guest, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Stephanie, how are you really feeling? How you doing, for real?
I'm really excited. I'm nervous. I'm on the radio, but it's all good.
You're doing your thing, and I'm hoping that, you know what I'm saying, you're excited enough to give us the information that we need. So let's dive right into it. Tell us about this free estate planning series that's going on, that's happening at RMPM. Give us a little brief rundown about what that looks like and what your role is in that.
So mark your calendars.
Facts.
For September 25th. Mm-hmm. And it's at 10:30 in the morning. You sign up on the Rocky Mountain Public Media website. It's a webinar. You can watch a replay. But what we're going to talk about is, this one is called Estate Planning 103. We've had 102 and 101 before,
right,
about wills and making sure your legacy is carried forth after, your passing. But this one is about what's up when we aren't alive but out of commission for whatever reason.
Right.
If we, became suddenly ill, if we went to Tahiti, if we are unfortunately in a coma, and those are covered in writing. If people want to do this, start thinking about it, everyone, in documents called powers of attorney.
Yeah, yes, and power of attorney is like very important. I want to ask you, like, what are some of the most misconceptions about estate planning that people may have? Like, what does that look like? Because some people think just, they'll figure it out, like they're going to be okay, and I instilled in them the right knowledge for them to just go on and do without. But like, what are some of those misconceptions, and why do we need to kind of push those away and really focus in on the right knowledge and information when it comes to estate planning?
So hopefully, and this is my wish for everybody listening to us right now, is we're all going to live to 120,
Facts.
Happy and healthy.
Facts.
Right. In the event there are bumps along the way, let's start thinking about it, about what our plans are or our wishes. Obviously, it's not a good time if we get messed up for whatever reason. Yeah. And I don't think anybody here really relishes the thought of having to go to court and get permission to take care of their own child who's 19 years old, or their grandma or their spouse.
Right.
But that can happen in the absence of written plans.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. Bad things are going to happen to me. I can tell you it's not true. Just like, if we talk about sex, we're not going to get pregnant right now on the radio.
Exactly. We got to have these conversations.
So we're not going to die. And we're not going to get messed up. But
Facts.
In the event, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And it's not really necessarily cost prohibitive. But it is important to think about it. And the first question to ask ourselves is, who's our village? And some people are like, I don't have a village. So that brings up a lot of hard stuff. And that's something a lot of people don't want to think about.
Right.
I will tell you, if you need a village, you can buy one. There's professionals who do this kind of work. But hopefully, it kind of inspires us to take stock of like, who do we trust? Who has our back?
Right.
In the event, we need some help.
So why do you think it's so important to think about estate planning and power of attorney and, all of these things while we're still young and healthy? Because we definitely live into 120 for sure, but while we're still young and healthy and maybe 100 years younger, why is it important to think about that stuff?
Well, like, I'm old. But for young people, like my kids or my kids' friends, once you're over 18, you're a legal adult. It doesn't matter if you still live at home. Your parents, your folks, your relatives, they really can't make medical or financial decisions for you if you're out of it without a piece of paper. It doesn't matter if you're a student. Once you're 18, you're a legal adult.
Right.
Also, for our kids and other loved ones in our lives who have developmental disabilities, they too turn 18 and they are legal adults.
Yeah.
So because of privacy laws and, the rights of the individual to self-determine, no one can just go willy-nilly, like, do your business for you unless you've designated them beforehand.
Man, this is what we call law. Like, you have to follow the law, and these things are, we see it all the time, like, especially in our communities, like, respectfully, someone passes away, and then everyone's scrambling and trying to figure out, okay, well, what do we do with the dog, or what do we do with this jewelry, or, like, where's the will, or, like, how do we divvy this stuff up? So I think it is really important to have this conversation, and I think, like, your insight is, like, very powerful. And, you've worked in the Denver probate court, and, like, how did that shape, what I'm saying, what you see when it comes to estate planning? Like, how did that shape your views on that?
For sure. So I worked for 5 years helping people who didn't have lawyers navigate their business before that court. So I sat in a room and we helped 4,000 people a year just come on in and talk about, unfortunately, my grandma died. Unfortunately, my uncle's in a coma. He was in a motorcycle accident. My daughter is turning 18 and she has, Downs. I got to get guardianship over her. So what you just said about the wills, like, who's going to take care of the dogs and who's going to get grandma's jewelry, and what about the house? Right? So that's all what we're determining is to happen after death, after passing. Powers of attorney, that's the subject of the webinar on the 25th, is about powers of attorney. That's what happens when we're messed up, but we're alive. Those extinguish upon death. So whoever you nominate to take care of your business while you're alive, but incapacitated or disabled, that's good. But the second you pass away, that document goes bye-bye. When we die, that's when we're talking about wills. Last will and testament.
Yeah.
Okay?
Facts.
Right? And, people have worked really hard for their stuff. People have been paying for years on that house.
Their whole life.
And sometimes they want to make sure it goes to who they want it to go to. If we die without a will and we have stuff, generally the way it's going to go is by the bloodline. And that's, codified in the laws of Colorado. Each state is different.
That's deep.
So in Colorado, it's the bloodline. So if you're married, it's your spouse, right?
And then
Yes, and then it descends up and down according to the law. But sometimes, unfortunately, some of us don't want all of our kids to share and stuff, or sometimes we don't have children and we like charities and we want our stuff to go to a charity, or sometimes we have a friend who we want to make sure that they have all our stuff and get our dog or get our jewelry, our car, whatnot. So it's good to have it in writing, a signed writing before death, because obviously after we die we can't do documents.
Probably can't write that much after that.
Not neatly.
Okay, so what are some...
So, Maleman, let's talk about you.
I'm weak. What are some common mistakes? Let's talk about, the power of attorney. And before we get to that state, you know what I mean? Like, what are some common mistakes that you see families have when it comes to, dictating who has the say-so when I don't have the say-so anymore?
For sure. So, mistakes, like... whatever. I mean, people are going to do what they do, right? A mistake. You didn't plan, you didn't write it down, and now it's a really bad time, and everyone's really upset, and now they have to deal with this. Best case, worst case scenario, but they deal. Worse is what if they don't get along? There's fighting, someone's going to kidnap grandma.
Whoa.
It's better to have it in writing.
Right. Don't go out there kidnapping grandma, bro. Don't do that.
Right? But one mistake, or not even mistake, because I think that's harsh, but
our misconception
or how to really benefit yourself is I do believe, and I think most estate planning practitioners will agree, that communication is really your friend. You know, when you're thinking about who is my village, you know, talk to them. Do you want to be my village? They may say no. Find somebody else.
Right.
You know, you may
somebody else to do it.
Right. I'm not doing this. And then you know. It may not feel good, but you'll know.
Yeah.
Or like maybe you have several kids and, you know, one of them is a nurse and he's going to be great making your healthcare decisions, right? But your other son faints at the sight of blood. So that may not be his strong suit to be your medical power, you know, who can't deal. Which is, you know, neither here nor there, not good or bad. It's just your relationships.
Personal, we're human.
Right. Nobody can do everything. Let's say you've got a daughter. She's an accountant. She might be a very good choice to be your financial power of attorney in the event you're messed up and, you know, can't handle paying your bills anymore. So she's going to have the authority to do that business on your behalf.
So there's different like powers. So there's financial, there's health, there's like, can you break that down a little bit?
For sure. So there are medical powers of attorney, and that governs our body, basically.
Right.
What are our healthcare decisions going to be? They often contain what's known as advanced directives, which is also referred to sometimes as a living will. Living wills have nothing to do with stuff. Living wills have nothing to do with after we die. Living wills have to do with what are our wishes at our end of life. What kind of care are we going to get?
Okay.
Do we want, you know, heroic measures taken? Do we want a DNR? Do we have, you know, religious considerations that we want respected, you know, at that time? So having a clear plan in place, number one, informs your village and also gives you peace of mind that you know it's going to be the way it needs to be when you can't, you know, advocate on behalf of yourself. So that's a healthcare power. It also governs like where you're going to live. Let's say you're in the hospital and not conscious, but they want you out. Surprise, that happens, right? They want you in a rehab or they want you to go to a skilled nursing facility or whatever. This way you have an agent who's able to make those arrangements on your behalf and who's able to communicate directly and freely with the hospital about your medical records, because there's so many rules governing patient privacy. So to have this in place, the hospital's good. They're like, okay, you know, so-and-so has it in writing. Who's supposed to do it? And they do.
Good. Okay. Then you've got financial power of attorney.
Financial power of attorney is about your stuff, right? And some people are like, I don't care. I don't have any stuff, right? But, you know, you may have a cable bill or you may have a mortgage or you may have a car payment. So who's going to have that power to deal with your lender and say, you know, my friend is messed up and I got to get rid of their car because probably they won't be driving again. Or I got to, you know, maybe pause this because they're unable to pay it. They're out of commission. So who does your business, right? That's what a financial power of attorney does. And it's also commonly referred to as a general durable power of attorney. That's over your stuff. The medical is over your person. Two different things. And sometimes we have the same agents for both. But sometimes, you know, there's reasons to have different. Also, I really suggest to my clients when I work with them, please have alternates. You know, what if your first choice is in Tahiti? Or you don't like them anymore? In that case, do a new power. You can revoke it at any time. These are your wishes. You have sole control over it. You can rip it up. You can change it. You know, things change.
Listen, like that is, I don't know, like that is so deep and powerful to know that you have, I mean, we don't have control of certain things, but we have control until we don't have control anymore. And that is empowering. Like that should wake a lot of people up to let people know that you don't have to let people scramble. You don't have to scramble. You can put the playbook together, and if these things unfortunately happen, we know what to do. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to try to guess and try to figure it out. Like, we just know this is what Mailman wanted. This is literally, because, we hear that.
And you have to do it.
This is what Mailman would want. We hear that all the time, but maybe he didn't. So it's good that we know that this is what he would want. So I think that's like really, really powerful. Any last, messages or information or resources that you want to share with listeners when it comes to power of attorney, when it comes to estate planning, when it comes to writing wills, or just anything you want to get off your chest when it comes to this subject? Stephanie, lay it on us.
Let me unburden myself. So it is really a gift of love, to the people you care about. And it's also a gift to yourself. But one more thing I do want to talk about is, appointment of guardian for minor children. Because when we have kids under 18, if something happens, heaven forbid, to both parents and they're out of commission for whatever terrible reason, it is good to have in writing who you would want to step in and serve as your kid's guardian, because they need it. They need it to go to a doctor. They need it to go to a school. They need it for everything, to get a passport, whatever it is. And I will, with one caveat, please know, even if you write that down in an appointment, those people still do have to go to court. There can still be a fight. Right. We can never say there's never going to be a fight about any of this. Yeah. Powers of attorney, wills, people can fight about whatever. Yeah. But it makes it a heck of a lot easier at a very terrible time. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of, heavy news, but hey, that's what it is.
And that's what the drop is about. We have to have these real, conversations, whether they're uncomfortable or not. And for some people, it's not uncomfortable. We need to know this stuff, like, okay, now that I know this, let me get to work. You know what I'm saying? So that is brilliant. And Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing your insight, sharing the resources, and just being you, because if we didn't know you and we didn't have this conversation with you, we probably wouldn't know all the information and all the knowledge around, estate planning and power of attorney. We probably wouldn't even get this message. Like, it probably wouldn't happen. So thank you for coming to the drop and sharing this with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope to see you on September 25th.
25th, we here. September 25th, we are here. 103 Estate Planning. Come through. Pull up. It's Mailman on Denver's Urban Alternative, 104.7 The Drop.